everyone, it's AJ and today I will be talking about These Ghosts Are Family by MAISY card. I also had the immense privilege of talking to MAISY about herself and this book, so if you're interested in a book chat with MAISY card, I have left a link to that video in the description box below. Either way, let's just jump into it. These Ghosts Are Family is a family saga that is centered around a Jamaican family. The story starts with Abel Paisley, who in the 1970s left his family in Jamaica in order to make money in England. Not long after his arrival, however, his childhood friend Stanford Solomon, with whom he was working with, dies tragically in a cargo ship accident. This is the moment when Abel makes a choice. He decides to steal his friend's identity and fake his own death, thus forsaking the young family he left behind in Jamaica. More than 30 years after this event, a caretaker by the name of Irene Paisley finds herself specially requested by a client, Stanford Solomon. Now seated in front of him, Stanford finally comes face to face with his old and new family. After he reveals his identity, things will never be the same. Shifting back and forth through time, this novel explores the ripple effect of Abel's choices, as well as those from the people who came before him. This was a phenomenal read. I was absolutely amazed by it. I think what really impressed me by the story was the structure as well as the techniques that were used. The book consists of chapters that can actually be read independently from one another. They all center around Abel Paisley's family, but they're all vastly different in style. One story is, for instance, written from the second person point of view. Another consists of accounts. The characters are also very different: slaves, immigrants, men, children, women. Besides being related, what all these characters have in common is that they all have a story to tell. And that is exactly what this book does. It tells their specific story. And so the more you read, the more you notice that here and there, truths and revelations are obfuscated or unknown, either purposely done so or by negligence and mistake. And that is something that is very authentic to a family's history. Card provides you with pieces of a puzzle, and once you try to put them together, you get this sort of kaleidoscopic portrait of the Paisley family. One of the things that I found very interesting was that many of these characters reoccurred in the stories either as the main character or as side characters, and every single time they were painted in a different light. For instance, at the start of the story, I saw Abel Paisley as this really bad guy who decided to abandon his family in Jamaica, but then in other stories I got to learn about his hardships and the traumatic experiences that he had been through, and so I started having conflicted feelings about him. And I think that's what makes these characters so interesting, because they're never clean cut. And of course that is how life is as well. Moreover, on the characters, they're so nuanced and fleshed out, in the sense that yes, we are focusing on one specific family, but everyone has their distinct struggles and characteristics. Some are dealing with colorism, racism, poverty, others with addiction, the ability to pass, the discovery of their identity and the loss of authority, and so much more. And also what's so great about this book is that despite the multitudes of these characters and their complexity, the book still manages to keep its focus, which is the dynamics between all these different characters. We see how the actions of family members can have such a significant effect on others, even if these actions took place centuries ago. For instance, in one chapter called Atonement, we see how one character struggles to deal with the fact that one of her ancestors used to be a slave owner. My favorite part of this book was definitely the last story. The title is How We Are Born, and it is about 3 characters who briefly appeared in another story. This part of the book was inspired by an old Caribbean vampire story named All Haig. And it differs greatly from the rest of the story because of its fantastical elements as well as its darker tone. I just thought how it was cool of Card to infuse some Jamaican folklore in this book as well. Anyway, that is everything I had to say with regards to These Ghosts Are Family. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. A huge thank you to Barbara, Klavak, Chris, Diane, Jen, Nikolai and Tara for supporting me over on Patreon.